Welcome back to Desert Smoke Reviews. This is Justin.
Wyatt.
Tonight we're taking a look at the G5 Avenger from Gurkha. This is a beautiful, really dark black torpedo. The wrapper looks very nice. It's very smooth. Got about a medium veins, but not too bad. The seams are done well. I've got a couple little squishy spots, but for the most part, it's a pretty nice firm pack. The aroma is, for me, it's very nice, rich tobacco and like a, I don't want to say a super sweet chocolate, but a bit of chocolate and coffee. Very, very nice. And then off the foot, I pick up that coffee and it plays a more predominant role. Wow.
Yeah, this is a beautiful looking cigar. Very, very oily. Pretty firm pack all the way through for me. You know, kind of a mottled look to the wrapper. Some of the wrapper is a little darker than other spots, but it just looks gorgeous. And on the aromas, I don't get that much off the wrapper. It's there's definitely some rich tobacco in there, but that's kind of it for me. But the foot, I get a real nice, you know, when you get a big bag of like Nestle's semi-sweet chocolate, you just crack that open, you get that wonderful smell of chocolate. That and definitely a lot of coffee floating around in there, so hopefully it tastes as good as it smells.
Alright, well, let's get it cut up, lit up, see how it goes.
It's a nice little pepper bomb there. Kind of sits at the back of my tongue. Lots of rich tobacco, a little bit of coffee, but you know, the finish morphs nicely into that semi-sweet chocolate morsel type of taste.
It's a very nice, sweet finish. I don't pick up a lot of pepper. There's definitely a little bit there. Most I just get a nice hint of deep tobacco flavor. Very, very nice, and then it molds into that nice little sweet finish. Very, very nice start. Very, very smooth, really. The retro hill isn't too bad.
Yeah, there's a lot more pepper for me in the retro hill, but
Definitely.
still it's not overpowering.
Well, let's get into the first third. Welcome back. We're about 10 minutes into this the Gurkha G5 Avenger. Very nice cigar. It pumps out the smoke like a traditional Gurkha. To me, it's kind of like a nice medium to full in body. Those flavors are right there. Strength is about a medium as well. Got a little bit of a kick as I got to turn on the camera. Construction, not bad. I've had a few burn issues I've had to touch up. Might have fixed themselves, but as you know, I get a little antsy. The flavors are still very, very nice sweetness, but it's died down a little bit in that finish, and the coffee's playing a much larger role. And Wyatt mentioned it, and it's probably a better descriptor. It's more of a coffee bean than like a cup of coffee. It's very crisp. It's very, you know, kind of like that, you know, like what you would get from when you bite into a coffee bean. And that sweetness is very, very nice. It comes in on that finish as well. So the finish is exceptional with this cigar. The flavors you get in the smoke is still, you know, there's a little bit of pepper, but it's died down as well. There's a lot of rich tobacco, but really the main player on this cigar is the finish. It's very, very nice. What?
Yeah, there is that sort of drying element in the smoke, but it's also very sweet. It's like a drying sweetness. And that made me think of like a coffee bean. And we've mentioned that before, like a chocolate-covered coffee bean. And overall, that's what I'd have to say the finish really is for me. There's chocolate and that drying coffee bean sort of taste. But otherwise, draw's been fine, construction's been fine. You know, they had a real firm pack at the beginning, and now it's really squishy, but there's no tunneling. Doesn't look like there's any tunneling, at least. So construction seems like it's doing fantastic so far. But yeah, I mean, so far just a nice solid coffee bean, and that pepper for me also has pretty much died out.
Well, let's get into the second third, see if we get any changes. Welcome back. We're about halfway on this Gurkha G5 Avenger. And we've said many times that we'll always risk it on a Gurkha. And, you know, sometimes you get a really good one, sometimes you get a really crappy one. This Gurkha G5 is somewhere in the middle. I was really had a little bit higher expectations of this cigar. I've had the G3, and I think that is an excellent smoke. The G5 doesn't really live up to it. It's good, don't get me wrong. It's a very nice smoke. It's relatively smooth. It has a nice rich tobacco flavor, and that finish is excellent. But it just doesn't have that wow factor that some of the other Gurkha cigars have. And it's definitely no beast. It's not that bad in any stretch. It just doesn't have the wow factor. It's a good smoke. I'm enjoying it. I haven't had any flavor changes. I still get like a nice sweet coffee bean on the finish and some rich tobacco. But it just doesn't have the wow factor so far. Why?
Yeah, I agree. I haven't had the G series. I mean, this is my first G series cigar, but I am always willing to risk it on the Gurkha. And this is one that, you know, if I walked into a shop and I spent $7 or $8 on it, I'd be fine with that amount. I mean, it's not like you're losing money for a horrible cigar like the Beast. It's not like you're shelling out really big money for a really good Gurkha cigar. I mean, it's like Justin said, it's one of those kind of in-between cigars. And we're more frequent cigar smokers. If you don't smoke a lot of cigars, I think this would be a great end-of-your-day type of stick, a cup of coffee, or really anything. But it's not as complex as we would have wanted. And the flavors are good, but they're not really changing much. And it's one of those cigars that we kind of want the flavors to change. I mean, we've had, at least I've still had that nice coffee bean, chocolate, and that's pretty much it. I mean, it's a very organic tasting cigar, but at the same time it's not earthy, if that makes any sense. But I'm kind of hoping for some sort of flavor shift in this last half, last third, I guess, of the cigar. But I'm not really expecting it. Regardless, though, it's good.
Yeah, it's very pleasant. It's a nice cigar. But let's get into the final third, see if we get any changes. Well, welcome back. We're at the final third, approaching the nub point of this G5 Avenger by Gurkha. And all in all, it was a very, very nice stick. If I saw this in a humidor at a B&M, I would pick it up if it's not too much. I've seen them for around the $10 range, and it's a little bit on the higher end for what you get, but it's still a very good cigar, and I would pay that for this cigar. It was always around a medium to full in body, and about a medium in strength. There's a touch more flavor than strength, but they were pretty even for the most part. Construction was decent. Burn was a little bit of an issue. I had to do numerous touch-ups. Like I said, many of them probably would have fixed themselves, but some I knew wouldn't. Draw was great. Flavors never changed. And in no way either. They didn't, like one started playing more of a major role than the other. They never really did that. It was just a nice sweet, like a coffee bean, a chocolate-covered coffee bean in the finish, and that's very pleasant. I definitely like that. The smoke was very, and why I said it's organic, and I agree with it. It's not really earthy, but it is very organic. It definitely has that feel to it. A lot of rich tobacco. All in all, a very nice stick, but it never had the wow factor that I really like in, well, some of the cigars I can name off the top of my head from Gurkha is the Cellar Reserves, Cellar Reserve Limitada, the Seduction. All those cigars are similar in characteristics to this cigar, but they had a wow factor that either the flavors changed or became more potent, or one started playing another role. You know, they had that, you know, that drew your interest. This cigar didn't have that. It's still very, very good, and it's very smooth, but just, like I said, doesn't have that wow factor. If I was going to rate it, I would give it a 7. I think that it's something I would smoke on a regular basis if the price is right. I recommend you giving it a shot. Have them roll around in your humidor, but it's just not the the best that Gurkha has to offer. What?
I haven't been as impressed with this cigar, especially in the second half. You know, I've got more than just the nub of cigar left, and I'm getting a lot of those really hot smoke flavors from this cigar. I mean, it's very you know, I've had a bunch of tunneling issues, and like I said, I've just got the nub left, so there's no point in fixing it up. But you know, that coffee bean just kind of got a little harsh, and the smoke got a little harsh. And I think the main problem wasn't due to the fact that I just have a little bit of cigar left, but it was due to sort of the tunneling that I've got going on here. And I've got a big piece of the wrapper that's come up too. So I haven't been as impressed, but you know, it's like we said earlier. The Gurkha is really hit or miss, and this one falls somewhere in between. This is something I'd smoke again. You know, the flavors, especially in the first half, were really pleasant, really nice. That coffee bean and organic taste were really all that I got. But I could see this going well as a mid-afternoon stick. I could see this going well as a. That's really the only specific time that I want to put to this cigar. It's too heavy for the morning. It's too.
It's a little too heavy for a golf course stick.
Yeah,
as well.
yeah. It's too heavy, and you know, it's too complex for a golf stick. But it's also not complex enough for sort of an end of your day winding down type of cigar. But you know, other than that, I've really enjoyed it. I'd have to go a little bit lower. I'll give it a 6.5. But it's definitely, you know, with Gurkha, you have one cigar from a box and you hate it. Smoke the next one. I'm sure it's going to be great. So you know, 6.5. But something I try again. The flavors were good, and I'll try it again.
Well, yeah. Take our reviews with a grain of salt. You know, jury's still out on whether we really know what we're talking about or not, but we do our best. But in conclusion, if you like our videos, please give us a thumbs up and subscribe. We greatly appreciate it. But until next time, smoke them if you got them.